I don't know what image I used for this video. I don't know what image I used for this video. Pop-up, whatever it's called, showed up and says, watch John Birmingham on his new video. While I was the one who made the video and I'm signed in with my own account, but it gave me a notification about it. I don't know what that means. I'm gonna check the image that I used for this video because I don't know what image I used for this video. Good old Ishmael. At it again. Are you Ishmael? I'm checking the image that I used for this video. It's okay. Well, I feel pretty good. I'm gonna turn on music and kick back and take it easy because I should. Hi. 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 I'm gonna put on music. I unplugged my Alexa. I'm gonna put on music. This will be the YouTube library music instead of my own music. I'm taking it easy. He. Oh, I got my leg. I cut my leg. I scratched it. I don't want to walk there. I was just walking around a lot. Cleaning myself like they did in the cave days. Cleaning myself again like they did in the cave days. Let's play a song. Come on. I'm taking it easy. I thought I'll film a video while I'm taking it easy. Eh. Who knows? I'll just, oh, I won't. It's got to be a big performer. It's got to be a big, putting on a big show. It's got to be, instead of down here at $40,000 a year, $40,000 a year, it's got to be way up here, biggest, most powerful military plane helicopter flying above with Arnold Schwarzenegger in it, or John Birmingham, biggest, most powerful one, so he can earn at it way less than the $40,000 and be earning $4,000 a year. $4,000. Hi, $4,000 a year. Hi. Hi, $4,000 a year. He's the biggest, most powerful showman. He's putting on a show with his personality. He's a good guy. Hey. I'm a good guy. Shit. SHID. I didn't say anything wrong. I didn't even say that. Ha! Shh! I'm a liar in my words. I cover up my real intent and thoughts. I'm sorry, I'm a liar. Please forgive me, God. I hope that person gets into heaven if they probably don't even do that. I'm probably judging whoever I'm pretending to not be like. Or I don't know. Maybe that was me. I'm an all-American. Look at me. I just starred in a big blockbuster movie, I'm married, have kids, on the side, I, might have sex with whoever I feel like. I'm an American. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm a liar. One of those fucking liars. Living a lie, hey, I'm American and good. I'm a good guy. But American is good, and I really am American. American's good. It's good. It's good. It's good. Now let's play a song and calm down like I was trying to. Amen. Why did I say amen? For the cross that I made. Don't say amen unless you really said something godly and good and kind and Jesus-like. Please, God, be with us on earth as it is in heaven. Amen. I'm tired of being tuned up. How do you relax to that? I made it to Venice Beach, man. Yo, I'm 18. No, that is not that good. Hey. I don't want to wait. I'm not playing that. I don't want to wait for my life to be done and you're dead. Moved on, started over, done, dead. life is over. That means that this life is done and you've started your new life on Judgment Day when Jesus brings you back to earth. So that means you don't start a new life. This is your one life, and your second life is after this. This is not your only life. We have two lives. This life, and this is the way that we are kind to others, not lead into temptation, not given to temptation, other godly things and Jesus-like things. We're suffering for the sin that we did, feeling sorry for the bad that we did. That's not always appropriate. Um, um, Not being tricked by the devil or demons into the wrong kind of sin, that not working on in unrighteousness, doing God's work, kindness to others, not being led into temptation when we're on our own or with others. I'm not on my own. Teza is. She's my sister. But she's not even on her own. She thinks she's on her own. She's in a group called On Our Own. And I refuse to go to it. I refuse to go to it because I'm not on my own. I'm not on my own. I got married. I have children. Do you think that I would go back with my soul to pretending I don't have children? No, that's someone else, Teza. That may be you a little bit. You have your parents. That may be you, but that's likely Teza. She is a single person. She was never married. You don't turn your back on your wife and kids and say, oh, who cares? It's my soul. I'll live some bullshit, selfish shit, and then get, burning in the lake of fire for all eternity. And that's not the thing that drives you by fear. The actual purpose on earth is because you feel so bad if you're not doing the things that you're supposed to do, that God wants you to do, that Jesus wants you to do. That's not for me. Not a random single person who is not, many of them are not random. Many of them are very godly and kind. They're godly and kind, but that's not me. And even, I think, I don't know what even is. That's an anxiety. You know why? Because you don't get even with people. You don't hold a grudge. You don't hold a grudge against people and try to get even. You forgive them. You forgive others. You forgive others. That's your chance to really do God's work. Not to be selfish about it and sinful and mean for all those years to somebody, or to get even with someone. Those are the wrong, bad values. That is not how people in my family were. That's not how I was raised. I don't know if other people are. I can't judge them, but I think some people hold a grudge. They hold a grudge, and maybe they're not getting even. Maybe they hold a grudge, and I don't know. But the thing is to forgive others. You can't hold that, be angry at them the whole time, be mean to them as your way of going on. No, that's wrong. That's way wrong. That's the bad way. That's wrong. Maybe I don't understand what that is. Maybe it's not what I think it is at all. But some people, I think, hold a grudge or try to get even, or I don't know. Or I don't know at all. Maybe God wants me to, I don't know. I try to forgive others, but I mess up too sometimes. Sometimes I might try to get even without knowing it. And it's really bad. You shouldn't do it. God and Jesus don't want you to do it. I'm not the one saying it. God is the one who gets all the glory and the one who makes those things. That's how it is. It's how it is for me. I don't want to get even. It hurts me to think of. Feels like it's giving me a worry, like it's hurting me. Maybe it's because I accused someone else of getting even when I didn't know if they were really doing it or not. Maybe that's why. and kind of felt empowered with another person who I know to get along with them and them feel okay too by blaming others, which made my life worse and more difficult, but allowed someone else to feel happy. So I'm trying to figure out what those quote unquote anxiety things are, because it's not really anxiety. It's things that are going on in our life that we're trying to get right. It has to do with how we interact with others and our own personal problems and the sin and difficulty and the good of others in our lives and in our own problems. And that's what anxiety is. However, it is also sometimes nonsense stuff. Big beluga whale. Oh crap, does that mean I'm fat? You know, big beluga whale. Somebody called me fat. Or someone who I know they think is fat. Or the letter B. Or B. Not being there for my children to teach them all that, because I don't want to stay in a hotel as a way of being with my children, or take an Uber from a stranger and stay in a hotel. But maybe I don't have to. Maybe I don't have to at all. Maybe I can stay at Danica's house. So, I don't know. Maybe I have to go on faith. Well, faith and God and Jesus being with me. Without the things that make me feel bad, like these eyes looking bad, which I'm supposed to allow to let go and look bad or something as my way of being kind and godly and good, as a way to be kind and godly and good, which makes me feel bad and hurts my body. It's not good for my body. However, my soul may be very good for my soul. But it's difficult. I don't want to give up my looks. But I don't have to. I'm 43, still at least I'm not trying to look like I'm 28 anymore. Well, I don't say, but of course I would, people feel happier when they look good, I think. But some people don't care, because most people look good anyway. I'd say most everybody looks good anyway. They don't look that bad. It's like, so some people are like, who cares? It's not the thing they care about, because they're pretty much going to look okay anyway. But some people look a little different. Some people look a little different, but usually not. Probably nobody watching this looks that bad. And even somebody who looks like a quote unquote freak, if there's something really messed up with them, or that's not that, it doesn't matter. Whoever that is, it doesn't matter. Whoever it is, it doesn't matter, as long as they're kind and good. Their soul is good, they're kind. You can see it in their eyes when they're really good. Even if they have old eyes, their eyes are hurt, something like that, they're good. They could be a creature, but a human. That would not be a human. A creature would not be a human. Creature would be a beast, an animal. We have dominion on the animals, so to speak. We have dominion on the animals. I don't like saying dominion over the animals, because that means your life is fucking over. For me, if I say over. John Birmingham, talking to myself, afraid of the word over. Shit, I told everybody. Now I might not be the same anymore. I don't like saying it. Over means your life is over. Moving on from the life that, and your responsibility to be a good father. And a good husband, or maybe not husband is appropriate, but a good father. And the other thing, maybe it's good, okay too, but I don't, but those those things all point to one life being over, starting over. That points to you are dead, and you've gone to sleep. You're awaiting judgment day. It feels like the twinkling of an eye, and then you're in your second life. I can't say those things. You don't go against what God brought together. God brought that together. That's the most special thing. That's maybe the most special thing you'll ever know on earth in this life. How could you go against? How could people go against that? I don't mean to be a jerk bad about it, but some people are supposed. Some people it's okay. One of them really beats them up really bad, something like that. They're not supposed to. They're if they can work on that and he never does it again. But usually that means they shouldn't be together. You're supposed to try your best to keep. God brought those people together, unless it was for the wrong reasons and not godly reasons, and something was not the best about it or good about it, or and those extraordinarily unlikely. Sometimes some of those people it's okay to get a divorce, like Al and his first wife. That was okay to get a divorce. She started being with a bunch of other women. He said it in his videos, I think. She started being with a bunch of other women. I know in the Bible it says that's not okay. That's not okay. That's sexual immorality. Without it, that is sexual immorality. It didn't just happen one time, not going to happen again. That you can work on. That you can both. That could maybe be okay. Could be okay. It can be okay, I think. And but not someone who changes their heart to loving others in that way, in that kind of sexual way, and lusting about other people instead of their husband, and that's okay to be apart. I don't want to do any of that. Jesus, protect us from evil. God, protect us from evil. God, protect us from evil. I was thinking about one of my friends who had a smaller chin. He thought I was so cool. He thought I still kind of messed up about that. I felt made fun of growing up. I was kind of mean about it later, but not that mean. Still, they were more mean to me than I was to them, I think. But I was pretty mean to this one guy who I thought looked at me as like the loser of the kind of the loser of the bunch, the fat one. He thought I was the fat one, and I came back and was such a jerk to him. I was like big, powerful, mean against. Like I was pretty. I was pretty bad in my thoughts to him one time. Like really mean. And I shouldn't have done that. I'll never do it again. I feel really bad. He was always the popular one in the soccer teams and stuff, on the teams in school. He got to be with the girls. I never got to do it. I was a little heavier. I had to keep my shirt on. He was a popular one through the entire thing. He talked to me right to my face. Yeah, he can see how fat I am right to my face. He knows. I finally saw him many years later. I happened to have gained 20 pounds right before I talked to him. Happened to have gained 20 pounds. Felt the same way. And I got really mean in my thoughts to him when I went home. And it was awful. I should not have done that, because it could have been, and maybe still can. We could have played music. We can play music together as someone who's a friend, not a not like my kids, not like my family, not like my family. But I was pretty mean to him in my thoughts. I was still kind of doing some of that in my thoughts. 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I still was doing it a little worse. How many years ago? It was 5 years ago. It started about 7 years ago. That was a really bad sin. And I do it here and there. My thoughts, very contrived, liar. But I didn't say the words out loud, unless it was like my thoughts and intent were one thing. I could be very mean. I was very kind. I was really kind to Danica and my kids. I've always been kind to Danica and my kids, other than in 2008 I said some kind of mean stuff about her appearance. That was stupid. And that's our sin. There's other sin I did when I was younger. And that's what kills us. That's why we all have to die. That's why we all have to die. Our sin that we do kills us. We're mean to somebody in some way, or not mean to them anymore at all. That'd be a miracle. That'd be good. Hopefully I'm not mean to anybody anymore. And that stuff kills us. And the sin of others. And on earth, us humans die. Jesus was without sin. He never sinned, but their sin killed him. And had he been on earth without other sinners, and he will be again, he's in his second life. He's been resurrected. He's in heaven, and he's going to come to earth again to judge us all on Judgment Day. And then he's going to bring heaven to earth. Well, God's going to bring heaven. God and Jesus will bring heaven to earth. And heaven will be on earth. And on Judgment Day, the lake of fire, I believe, is going to be on earth. I'm not sure exactly where it is. And all the evil, all the sin, all the bad people, all that will be thrown in the lake of fire. All the evil, the devil, the demons, the ones they tricked into the sin, the bad sin that's not forgiven. Jesus will forgive a lot of the sin of humankind and allow some of them into heaven, or a lot of them into heaven, or most, or I don't know how many, but it's not, well, and then all the bad and all the evil burn in the lake of fire, and that could go on for eternity into the heavens, not into heaven. It's not allowed in heaven. Sin is not allowed in heaven. There's no bad in heaven. The sin causes all the suffering, all the difficulty, all the awful stuff, everything that's bad feeling, and is mean to others. That's what causes it. The sin that is done to others, and the sin causes everything bad. So along with all the sin being destroyed forever, besides the devil will be put in chains inside the earth, supposedly. I think that's real. I believe that it says in the Bible. What it says in the Bible is irrefutable, and there's I shouldn't say it in that way, but there's it's refutable. You can refute it, but it'll be wrong. Everything in the Bible is true. Everything in the Bible is true. There's scientific proof for it, for people who have enough faith and believe in God and Jesus enough and know how to understand it well enough. There's scientific proof for everything in the Bible. So all that bad will burn for all eternity, and the only thing left will be people without sin, the angels, God, Jesus, other creatures who made it to heaven, and all the sin will be gone. It'll be burned away forever. I think besides the devil, who may still live inside the earth chained up, and all the sin's gone, and there'll be 1,000, for eternity for all humans, heaven with no sin, and along with no sin and no awareness of the sin. And because in our second life, we any memory of the sin, any sin, I believe, is no longer in our second life. Maybe that any sin, anything sinful, no longer exists. For all those who make it into heaven, you may make it into heaven. I don't know about the memory of sin. I think that it's not in the Bible. I don't know. And so all the sin will be burnt, and the evil and the devil, the demons, anything bad will burn up in the lake of fire. And along with that, no more sickness, no more suffering, no more crying, no more bad feeling, none of the suffering and no old age, no unless there's unless they happen to look old but don't feel old, unless it's a way that makes them feel, unless that's what they like. It's in a godly and good way, because they're so godly and good, they're following God and Jesus so well. All the sin is gone. There's no more sin. I can't escape it right now. We're here on earth. We sin. We can't help it. But one day, Judgment Day is going to happen after the tribulation. The tribulation lasts 7 years of the devil and the demons trying to rise up, and they try to go to war and conquer God and Jesus, and they think they can take over God, but they can't. It's impossible. It's impossible. It's impossible. And they're wrong and bad. They don't know what they're talking about. They use lies, destruction. They try to destroy things. They try to destroy people. The only thing God destroys, is evil. The only thing God destroys is evil. Really, really bad stuff. If it's evil, that means there is no good in it. But people mess up. They might say, "You're evil." I did that before. I called people evil when I was angry. That's not true. And all the good on earth will be here forever, for eternity. Actually, it lasts 1,000 years. Then I've just found out this new thing. Then the devil finally escapes his chains from inside the earth in hell, and he's the only thing left of evil. And he comes up to earth after 1,000 years of Jesus reigning as king. Well, he not in a bad way, in only a good way. on earth. He's with no sin, heaven brought to earth, but the devil's still like in chains inside hell, really far away from it all. And they haven't, there's none of it on earth anymore. That's what's going to happen during the second coming. And Jesus will be in power and great glory. And the devil will come up, and all these people who are no longer aware of sin, us who make it to heaven, he will try to trick some of them into going to war against God and to get more than they already had. Like the devil originated all that kind of really, really bad stuff. Not stuff that's not that bad or sinful like we do on earth right now that's forgiven. That smaller sin is likely forgiven, but I can't judge any of those people who do things like the guy who did this, who tried to make fun of Italians because he's a Jewish person. The Borat, he's Jewish. Who did this? The feces, the SH, whatever. He's attacking all Italians who said cabella and stuff like that. With this thing, with kissing things and saying how beautiful things are. He's a Jewish person who tried to blame all them while he's the king of Hollywood and has hundreds of millions of dollars in his mean ass way. But even his weird way of being sinful, he may be forgiven, but it's unlikely when they have that kind of money. It's way unlikely. It's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than a rich man to get into heaven. He can shave his mustache off. I'm a Jew. That's how he's been the whole time, probably. That's what the guy in Salem told him to his face. This guy in the Borat movie said, well, I'm telling y'all, I think all you got to do is shave your mustache off and, you look Italian or something like that. You won't look as much like a minority. He told him to his face. That was awful, in a bad way. That was awful. But it doesn't matter. He may be ethnic. He may be a little more ethnic. But that's not an issue that I know of, unless he literally, the towns that he was referencing in the thing are probably where Jewish people came from. I think he's Jewish. I'm almost for sure he's Jewish. I don't really know and I don't really care, but I can't judge him, and I think he's Jewish, but I know God and Jesus are real. And I know about God and Jesus enough to know that we've got to do God's work on earth, and he's probably Jewish. I can look it up now. Borat, Jewish. But then again, Mel Gibson, who's really not Jewish, made it in Hollywood. Borat, Jewish. He was raised Jewish, is fluent in Hebrew. That's how Jewish he is. I'm not pissed off about it. That type of issue doesn't matter at all. It's a stupid earthly thing. It doesn't matter. You may or may not make it in Hollywood because there's so many Jewish people. Who cares? There are people who made it. It's up to God. And there are people who made it who are not Jewish. And some of them, Seth Rogen is Jewish, and he's a good person. I like him. I like Seth Rogen. I think he's funny. Like, maybe by some miracle I can get him in a movie one day later. Not now. I don't have the money to do a movie like that kind of thing now. But I think he's a good person. And he's Jewish. And he said there are a lot of anti-Semitic people who do well in Hollywood, and they're anti-Semitic. But that stuff doesn't matter. He's a good human being, I think. I don't know. I haven't met him. But you can't judge him. Or maybe I'll never get him in a movie or anything like that. Who knows? But I got a good feeling like maybe he was somebody good who, one day if I get $8,000, a little $8,000, I can pay him to be in a movie. I could get somebody, like anyone who has the money on a credit card, or, you get $30,000, you do the right project, you find their agent contacts, You can get 30,000 on a credit card if you work a little at stuff, or a lot. And but I may never be in a movie with Seth Rogen or something. You know, he's A-list right now. He's way A-list. I don't know how big he'll be in the future. I don't know, but I think he's one of the good people in Hollywood. I'm trying to think of who else. For a while, I couldn't think of any of them. I was like, wow, I really pushed that stuff too much. Really pushed that stuff too much. And now I got to back to where I guess I really suffered a while. Um, and I was like, wow, some of them are okay. Some of them are okay. They're real human beings. They may be kind. I don't know. But that's me personally. I think that stuff is good. What is good? Entertainment. So we're film, music stuff. But that doesn't matter that much compared to God and Jesus. That's just the stuff that makes me happy a little bit. But I haven't gotten to make a movie or a music or a really good music video like I really used to do. Or I haven't gotten to do that since 2014 and 2013. A movie, 2014 music videos. That was 7 or 8 years ago. And that's what I chose to do as a job, and one of the only jobs that ever made me feel happy. However, I got to work on videos. I got to work on videos, and I did get a couple of big videos, in 2016. And I haven't had it go that big since then. There's a little bit without. That was okay. There's a hope for it to get big enough to actually make more money. And that was okay. I got real fans. I had never had that many real fans. Here and there, somebody would write to me and say, "I saw your movie. It's really good." But I actually got more real fans. Real fans. I never actually had fans. Anytime somebody said they're a fan and started writing to me, I made friends with them. I got them to be in a movie like some of the people who I did who were in the Vampires of Zanzibar, and that was what happened when I really found God again. When I really found God again, after I had strayed away from God and Jesus a little bit in California when I did my movie Crazy Animal, but still it had really good moral beliefs. I was still good. I still believed in God and Jesus, but I was pretty mean. I got kind of mean a little bit. Hey. Yeah. Sacha Baron Cohen. Cohen, the long curls. Cohen, come on, hey. Like I was thinking about a funny music video of the Hasidic Jews. Jews! Like they have like those curls. Like a big beard and that big like black hat and a big black suit. Jews! I thought I want to do a music video on that, but I want to get it right so it really portrays them as good. I want to get along with them too, and I don't want to make fun of them. I don't want to make fun of them anymore. When I was younger, I was not that good about it. Even when I was a liberal, I was like a little bit like one of those liberals who told jokes, kind of making fun of people. I try to not do it anymore. But I mess up here and there on small stuff. I try not to do any big political mean stuff to anyone. And there was a time when I got tricked into being like a real, like one of the mean Republican people. It sucked. It caused a lot of suffering. I had to go out across the nation, like it felt like Jesus going through the desert and almost like his last day on earth. I was afraid of, but nowhere near as difficult as that. He really had to suffer. Jesus really went through a lot of suffering on earth and was not easy for him. Just to be for him to be alive was not easy because he was without sin and he was a human being. And all the temptation and stuff for a human being, we all sin and mess up, and he didn't sin at all. So it must have been really not easy for him. And then they tortured him and did all that bad stuff to him. He had a really difficult death. Even the last 6 hours of his death, every breath was agonizing. Every breath was really difficult for Jesus. For Jesus, it was really difficult because they put him on a cross, and the way people die on a cross is from suffocation. Like it does something to their like it pulls down their uh, lungs or something like that, and it does something to make it so they can't breathe, but it goes on so long, and every breath is really agonizing on a cross. It's only 6 hours or some, or it might be 12 hours, but it's really not easy to die on a cross. And that's what they did to Peter, because he had sinned more and he had denied Jesus a lot. Because he was like, oh, I don't really know him, because he didn't want to get hurt or something, and he didn't say the truth, and he didn't stand up for him, and he did it 3 times. But he did other stuff that was pretty bad, not that bad. And Peter was like kind of tortured too, from the Bible. He was crucified, and they crucified him upside down. They crucified him upside down, and he had to die that way. I think he was one of the apostles and disciples. I think, I don't know. He was a really important person in the Bible. I'm almost for sure he was a disciple or apostle. Peter, John, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Peter. There's one of the apostles or disciples who was one of the 13 of them who turned bad, and he's gonna go to hell on Judgment Day. It says in the Bible, and that's how we know he'll go to hell. We can't know unless God lets us know, and God lets us know with the Bible. That's God who helped people to be prophets with the Old Testament, and then he sent his only begotten son, Jesus, to write the New Testament, who is also a prophet. And Muslim people, they acknowledge Jesus. They acknowledge Jesus as a prophet. So that is kind of saying more than a lot of the other Abrahamic, or maybe saying more than some of the, or a lot of the other Abrahamic religions. But I can't judge, because that stuff is, they don't believe in Jesus as God's son. They don't believe in Jesus as God's son, and I can't judge them. And I do think some of them make it to heaven, but it's extraordinarily rare. It's very rare. They've got to be last in line. They've got to suffer a lot. They've got to have stuff like the least money. They've got to have it really difficult. They might have to have a lot of physical suffering on their body. The least of others. not get to feel as good on earth and still be righteous and still be righteous and that all the other stuff really helps them get into heaven. And then they can often make it, and they have to be good too with their faith alone, because and some of the Old Testament that they know, if for the ones who aren't agnostic or stuff like that, then they have a chance to get into heaven. And it says in the Old Testament, the rabbis wrote, there's a place called Olam Haba, because they would see like visions and stuff that God let them see, and the prophets wrote it in the Old Testament that there's a place called Olam Haba that's heaven, and they said that's where the very few people end up in heaven, and the majority, almost everybody, down to Sheol, hell. Because without Jesus, they didn't know how to be. And they didn't believe in Jesus and accept him as their Lord and Savior, or really have Jesus and believe in Jesus. And I think that accepting Jesus and believing in Jesus may not be the only way to heaven, but for most everybody, I think that's how we get into heaven. But I don't know. But I think pretty much you have to have Jesus, from what I've read, and I think that's it. And when you really believe in Jesus, Jesus means kindness to others, even when they're mean to you or others. Kindness to them, love, kindness to them, not in a selfish way. Love and kindness to them. That's Jesus. The other religions, they may not really do that, and Jewish people don't always do that. We all can't help but to sin, but there might be Jewish people who are there may be Jewish people who are more righteous than me, but a lot of Jewish people traditionally stood up for their own, like, people like them, but they're not all that way. Some are really kind to others who are non-Jews. I can't judge them, but from what I've read, you should really follow Jesus and believe in Jesus. Well, I'm going to go. That's a talk on God and Jesus. And inherent in God and Jesus is the Holy Spirit, who is somehow part of the soul, or all of the soul, or the Spirit of God. God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. The Holy Trinity. The Holy Trinity. And Jesus says to be kind to everyone. The Jews, the agnostic people, the non-believers. Jesus was surrounded by all those people, and he knew that even the whores and the non-believers were, some of them, not all of them, some of them would get into heaven, and the Jews would get into heaven before the ones who thought they were more righteous, or before some of the Jews back then who thought that was the way. But I believe that still is today about some of the Christians, because some of the people who call themselves Christians, they're like, all you gotta do is believe in God and Jesus. I believe in Jesus, and then they go and they don't live it. they don't live it. They live a very sinful life. Like I don't look at stuff that is a temptation online of like nude women, and that's a very That's a very some stuff that'd be like yeah or something with women. I don't do that. So I try to not to ever. But sometimes I'm like, hey, you would say it, and I'm like, no, it's bad. And then I change it, and I pretend it's my wife, whoever I'm supposed to be with. That's my wife, and that's hard to do. That's me not led into temptation, I believe, but I may have to research that more. But I can't torture myself too much. But I'm not going to imagine being with any other women. Just got done being with my wife. I don't, and maybe I'm crazy or not, because I don't know, because I don't know. I don't want to say I'm crazy because I don't want, but maybe I'm crazy or not. Who knows? I don't know. But in the Bible, it says, "Let no man separate what God has brought together." So when somebody allows their special wife that God chose for them, and they are supposed to try with all they have to stay together for that relationship. They're supposed to really stay together with 110%. And because they can't forgive the other one for doing something that's not that bad, they can make work. Because the trends say divorce is okay, so you can be a rich man or something like that. That's wrong. That's wrong. You chose way wrong. Way wrong. Way wrong. You might end up in hell. You might literally end up in hell for going against what that special thing that God gave you to be a rich man. You made your soul on earth and your life about being rich. Your soul about being rich. You traded in. You traded in something that was good and morally correct that you did, or telling a child or someone else, congratulating them, and telling them they did a good job, instead of telling them that was a good act of kindness you did to that person. That was really good and kind. That was awesome. Instead of like I would do, you tell them, you replace all that with how rich you are. How rich you are. How rich you are until that's what their soul's about. You know where that's going? Down to fucking hell. I'm sorry. Sorry. For not that, maybe not that person. For maybe not that person. Maybe that person will get into heaven. And maybe I'm judging them wrongly. But I have a feeling about that's kind of wrong. And they're I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. Afraid to say it to one of their faces. The one who pushing on all the others. Poor, worthless. Human life worthless. May as well be dead or killed, and that's okay. They're dead or killed because they have no worth, because they're poor. Wow. What values? Wow, what kindness. I don't mean to be a jerk about it, but that's who you're dealing with when you got me. I don't don't know what you really stand for, or, you know, but I think there's a lot of good that I didn't quite get about that person who I think, you know, was terrifying to me a little bit until I became almost as mean or meaner than he was. And then I said, oh, he's not Illuminati. He's not an Illuminati, he's a regular man. He just was really, really mean and made a habit out of that meanness out there every day for 20 or 30 years. And he thinks he'll get to heaven? Well, maybe he will. Maybe he didn't make that much of a habit out of it. I watched him out there putting up a big front, how big and rich it is. Is that how you let your guard down in love and kindness to others you can be yourself around, and it's always okay because you love one another? I don't know if that's true or not. I can't judge that person. I can't judge that person. I can't judge that person. I may have to. I don't know. Because they sin in their own ways. I sin in my own weird way. By calling him out into sin and acting like I'm some I might be being more sinful than he is, but I have kind of a feeling that, you know, that's not something that good. I was never aware of that. I was not aware of that kind of sin until I met that person. About or a little after, about 18 years ago. Wow, the person made me very afraid of him. Like, I've never seen anyone sin in that way. All those years in Roanoke, growing up, through all the schools I went to, everything anyone had ever seen, even the meanest ones to me, the meanest people to me, I never was aware of that people could be that way. And then, you know, but I can't judge them, but I think that's a little too much. And I'm grateful that I am how things are how they are now, but I've got to try to get to my kids and make sure they're okay. And maybe Danica too, but I don't know. I don't know. I hope she'll be okay. I don't know. I think she'll be okay, but I don't know. I think maybe I'm supposed to like make sure they're all okay, but I can't reach out to the other guy who might somehow might somehow know. And their ways, like, I don't know. God wanted me to be with her. The only way I was like, I don't know. I was different before I met her. And then when I was made as one flesh with her, well, when I was made as one flesh with her, I don't know. But I can't judge that person I was talking about. Maybe he's just as original and cool. I don't know. I don't know. I've said some mean. I've thought a lot of mean stuff about him because I thought he took my kids away from me. Some man. Maybe he'll. I don't know. So I'm not gonna mention of crazy. So afraid. It was like when in 2002, I don't know. I used to be so afraid of that. He'd like cough right to my face. He'd cough really loud. Never had to say anything out loud, but he'd go like right in front of my face in his big rich house that looked rich. I thought I didn't know how much money he had. You know, right in front of my face when I was a young man of 23, 24, 24, I believe. I may have been 25. A young man who still thought, you know, I'm young man, or didn't even say young man yet. I felt like I wanted to be a boy, maybe, or something like that. I felt like a boy. And, crazy man. He'd like cough and say, crazy man. He'd call me crazy. My brain, he might have thought I was worthless. Um, You know, that means that's the thing that controls your brain in science. So that means there's nothing you can do because your brain is messed up because he didn't believe it. That was like him saying he didn't believe in a soul. And then not only was I crazy, according to him, and how powerful he was, how much influence he had on people, but I was a man. Had to become a man now because I was like 24, 25, skinny, guy in college, young or grad school. I was in grad school. I still wanted to be like a boy. I was not only crazy, but a man, meaning like I had to act like my. That was an issue for me because my dad called himself a man at a very young age, and even in my 30s, I didn't like being called a man. It was like something. It was an issue for me. But he called. It was well before that. I just didn't want to be a man yet. You know, it was like part of the music stuff and crazy man. He'd cough and say it in a way. He'd say "ooh" about an entire other human being's life and soul. Ooh, about that entire human being because they were older than him. Because they were older than him. That's how crazy he really was. And if you'd said it in a public way, oh man, that's what he was all about. You know, his image, his not his physical image, but not as much as physical image, but his face a little bit. Um but his um his public his public image on paper and who he was and how he was and where he lived, and I think he had something to prove. He stayed in the same town his entire life and got as big and powerful and as rich as he could. I think somebody made fun of him. Somebody called him white trash. I think I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Somebody called him white trash. How we all like somebody makes fun of us says we're fat, and then they have to get in really good shape or something. You know, that was what made him think he had to be rich. He didn't want to be white trash. He didn't want to be trash. I think. I think he didn't want to be trash, and he didn't want to be white trash. But he was kind. He was kind to others at a political level, I think. I don't know. I don't know. No, he didn't do that big, really mean stuff against minorities at a big political level. There's this other guy that did, I think. I think he did. I think he tried to, you know, he had added a little too much of Obama. And I think he had some influence on doing something in my brain and trying to like, I don't know. I don't know if that's true. I was terrified of the other guy. Terrified of the other guy. I thought he wanted to do horrors to Danica. I'm not gonna say who he is, but like real horrors, because she had a little bit. a little bit good, different, different ideas. Not like Apple in particular, but like her own ideas. He wanted to like really hurt her body, I think. And there's someone who's really close to her, who she loves and trusts, and that mean man, I think was mean, who wanted to hurt her, had to really write her a lot of messages and let her know and really look out for her health from a distance. And by some miracle, she ended up okay. And somehow that man died. I don't know why he died, but it's terrible. I don't know. He might have been good or something, but I don't know. You know, his wife wasn't even really that close to him. And it's kind of sad that he died, but he died. And I couldn't say it was like, yes, he's finally not gonna hurt. He's not finally not gonna really hurt my wife and kids, or Danica and my kids. You know, I couldn't. I was like, oh man, he died. And somehow he died, but it's like I don't know. It was sad though. It was sad. He was a human being too, and he might make it into heaven. That man, I don't know. I don't know. I can't judge him, but it was sad. He really got old. He really got old and suffered. I think. Well, I don't know if he ever suffered. I don't know if he ever suffered. Lived his life doing his way. Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe he did suffer too. I didn't know him as well, so I can't really judge him. But I was pretty worried he was gonna hurt Danica. So out of nowhere, he just died. Something happened to him. Out of nowhere, he went to the hospital, went into a coma, and he died in his sleep. I'm not gonna say who it is. But I don't even know if he'd make it to heaven. I don't know. I have a feeling. I thought he wouldn't. But maybe if he burns in the lake of fire. I've been doing more research. I've been doing more research, and it says in the Bible that people who go to hell is actually in the lake of fire when Judgment Day comes, and some of them may be disintegrated and no longer exist at all. And I think their torment, some of them, their torment goes into, or all of them, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out what it means, but it says that they will die. They'll no longer exist. They'll be destroyed in the lake of fire. They'll be disintegrated to ash and no longer exist. They will not have a chance to live in beautiful love and acceptance and living forever with no sin, no bad, no problems, no suffering, no sickness, no old age, nothing bad ever again for all eternity with God and Jesus, with the most love and acceptance there is forever in heaven. That's what we that's what we hope to that's what we hope to get to, and it helps us too on earth when we don't sin, because our sin is what kills us, and the sin of others can hurt us too. And it's better to forgive them and not sin, and that's what we try to do. But we're gonna die anyway because we can't help but to sin a little bit. But we try to not sin. We try to not sin at all. But I still like feeling like I look okay. I don't want to suffer, so I try to work out. I don't want to suffer with bad health. I eat right and do stuff like that. Maybe I don't know what my health is like, but I haven't had to go to the doctor, so I guess it's okay. I don't do it at all if it's being mean to others, unless I'm like, oh crap, I really messed up or something like that, and then I try to I try to not do that at all. The weightlifting doesn't, I can't see it hurting anyone, but when I was younger, there's a time when working on my appearance alone, not my appearance itself, not my work in films. Never, I think I never did that with my work in films or video. There's this one video this other guy did that I was a little bit mean about. Oh, it was awful, and I think the video doesn't exist anymore, and but that was his video, and uh and there was a time when working on my physical appearance, I was mean and sinful about it to really get to the level of my physical appearance where they couldn't make fun of me anymore. I was like I looked like the best one when I first did that. I think I was pretty sinful. I was sinful about it, but really I didn't have to be sinful. I was working really hard at it. It was the hard work and on the food or no food and the plenty of water and um, I drank a lot of Diet Coke, Diet Cherry Coke. That was my favorite back then. I haven't had that in a long time. But that was my favorite. I'd have that caffeine, and I work really hard at exercising. I do aerobic and weights every day, pretty much. Well, I might take off. I might rest here and there. When I was resting, that was back in grad school. I'd watch MTV2. That was back when they show Headbangers Ball. I used to watch TV. I used to watch TV. I'd watch these like famous glam rockers who weren't that old back then because it was like it was now they might be these old heavy metal guys. But no, they're not. Some of them, yeah, I don't know. And I watched them and I thought they were so cool. And I watched the old videos and I'd say, yeah, they have some older ones who are in their 30s and stuff. And I can still do this. I can still be really famous at it and do it and make me happy to watch. And then I'd work relentlessly on my appearance, take my grad school classes. I was like determined at that work. And I'd be there for Danica. I was really kind to Danica. Really kind to Danica. I was kind to my parents when I talked to them on the phone. And I made a mistake. I was a little bit mean to others. And that came back to hurt me really bad. I was kind of mean to any random person sometimes. It was bad. I had never done that in all my life. It was when I was about 25 and I started being kind of mean to any person that I might think I was like a little bit mean. And or it was just not that good. And after that I gained weight. I gained like 20 pounds of fat. I still looked okay, pretty. I was in really good shape, and I only have one picture of it. It went on for like a long while. It was I would look, I could shape my chest into all different types of, but it was like really low body fat. I'd sit in my chair like this sometimes, or any different pose. I'd look like all these different amazing poses, and I didn't get any pictures of it. But besides one, I did get one picture of it. I have one picture of it, and then I tried to make an entire movie starring myself looking that way, and it was awful. The way that I looked, I had a goatee, almost like the devil, and I tried to make a big budget. Well, it wasn't a big budget movie. It was $80,000, but it was like with student loans and um, I did have a scholarship to attend the school, and my mom gave me her money, like all the money she made as a real estate agent. She gave me her money for that she made as a real estate agent, and my dad was making money too, and somehow she was very nice about it. And I got 80,000 before. I didn't ever get that kind of I didn't get that kind of money from him. And I got $80,000 to do my student film and try to make it. I had to do all the work myself. No one else was really, unless I paid them to do a smaller, I couldn't physically operate the camera while I was in front of camera, but I got somebody to do that, and had a crew and stuff, and had to get it done. All the responsibility was on me to do the entire feature film, make it look like a real movie. Some of it I had to film myself, ran out of money. Instead of renting a Ferrari, which was the plan, I was going to drive a Ferrari and be like those rock stars of the 80s. I ran out of money and had to film it my own, and get a cheap little scooter as a joke, as my own car in the movie. But it was a lot of work. I couldn't stay in that kind of shape. I couldn't stay in that amazing shape that I was in. It's my movie Crazy Animal. And somehow Danica was like, I told her the different movie titles. One of them, it was originally called One Nation Under God. One Nation Under God. And then I said, how about this as a title? And I talked to her about it all the time. She hated the movie. She didn't like it. She didn't like anything about it. I was right there with her, living together in the apartment, and she was the one I went to with everything, and I called it Crazy Animal. They call it Crazy Animal. Crazy. And and I don't know. And the thing, yeah, but I couldn't keep in that type of shape. I looked really amazing. Oh, well, I looked like really in good shape. It was hard to do because I didn't take steroids. So from day to day, depending on how much I was exercising, it was hard to stay in that kind of shape. I'd have to really work out a lot every day, pretty much every day. And I'd take a day off here and there. And it was not even as healthy as you would think, because at a young age I wasn't worried about that far in the future. So I'd work out way harder than I was supposed to. Like if I was really tired after a long day of going to grad school, and doing work for grad school or whatever I had to do, and I didn't have time to work out, it was the end of the day, and it was like 2 a.m. or something like that, and I was really tired, I'd be I'd snap into pissed off and pick up these fucking heavy weights and start working out. So with all I had to try to be like, I'd try to shape this into something that looked good. It always had to look good. I thought I had the wrong idea, and then that meanness that I did, which looks like fat now, and I know, and that came back to hurt me. That came back to give me depression. Instead of all the meanness I had done to others came back to hurt me, to make me depressed. I never in my life wanted to die or gave up. I never wanted to die until I moved back to Roanoke. Something happened and I became depressed. And it was from my sin. It was from my sin, that meanness that I did towards others. All that meanness I did to others came back and really started hurting me. And I was depressed. And it's not worth it. It's not worth it to suffer that much. Your life, my life felt so awful. I had to go be a real estate agent every day with my mom, and it was big. It was so difficult. I didn't even think about the money I was getting. It was not easy to do, and I didn't know, but she was making a lot of money at it. she was going out there and making a lot of money with that type of a lot of effort and really working hard at something. And I had to go through it too. And she helped me with a lot more money than I had thought. And the entire time it felt like I'm not doing enough. Like it felt like she was the one who was doing all of it, and I wasn't getting my own sales on my own. I was assisting her. It felt like, but technically I was a real estate agent, and it made me want to die that that's what my life became instead of getting to do movies. So after being depressed, I couldn't keep doing that every day, and I didn't know how to dress to fit in with all them. And I'd wear an entire suit sometimes to fit in. Oh, it's normal. I got an entire suit on. and, 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 and but I made a lot of money and I saved up pretty quick. Less than or maybe about a year. I saved up $10,000. I saved up $10,000. And I was depressed and didn't want to live that way in a small town working as a real estate agent with these people who didn't do movies or music or anything like that. And I started a family, but well, Danica was at home with the kids then, and I had to go out there and work with my mom, and it felt like I was like not really getting, like it wasn't enough, and like I had to do more and more, and I was getting money for it, but it felt like it was like I wasn't. It felt like they thought I wasn't working hard enough, and I had to keep working and working. But I did get a lot of money for it. They actually gave me tons of money for it, and I saved up $10,000. And then I was really depressed, and I called a gun shop and asked what their hours were. And I wanted to die. It was so difficult. I didn't want to live that way, and I wanted to die. And and it was awful. It felt awful having to live that way. It's not how I thought my life would be. But Danica and the baby were good. If the baby was not born yet. I think. I don't know. Oh yeah, the baby was born sometime during when I was a real estate agent, and that's Rowan, and and then something happened in December of 2006 or January of 2007. I said, I was so depressed every day. I thought I was going to die. I ended up calling a gun shop, asked them what their hours were. This was before the depression got 100 times as bad for years, every day, hours a day. It got really bad because I really sinned after that. And but this was when it was suicidal and depressed. But then it was awful. I wouldn't even wish that kind of depression on anyone. It sucked, and I don't wish for anything, but it got bad, and that's no way to live. There's no it was like hours a day of what it eventually became. But then I got through it, and I'm okay. I've been okay most of this year. I have been okay most of this year, and it's the sin that caused the depression. I found out because but I haven't been depressed like that. Like I mean, I'm okay again. I made it. It was years of it, but I made it. But it was it was it wasn't good, and but the thing is, when I first got depressed, a miracle happened that made it go away. Every day I'd think about wanting to die. I didn't want to be a real estate agent. It was so difficult, such a big thing having to be around those people with my mom and for it to make money. And I saved up $10,000 in a year of doing it, or some, or two, or so, a year, however much it was, a year, or I don't know. And so I got $10,000, but I was really depressed and didn't want that to be my life. And so I called a gun shop one day, asked them what their hours were. I was just gonna go there and kill myself so I didn't have to do it anymore or something. Or I wasn't gonna kill myself. Maybe I would never kill myself, but I called them, and one day I finally cried in front of the mirror. I looked in the mirror and I said, and I hadn't been as into God and Jesus for a while, because when I was a jerk out in California, kind of getting in really good shape and being mean to others randomly and working really, really hard at my appearance, where, I mean, it got in really good shape from the work itself. I didn't know I didn't have to be mean. And, but, all that meanness to others came back and made me really depressed. It got so bad. It was so awful. And I finally, and I just cried. I finally cried one time. I used to never really cry. I used to almost hardly ever cry, once every few years. And I cried and cried in front of the mirror. All these tears came down, and I asked God. I prayed to God. I prayed to God. I said, please, God, make this bad feeling go away. Please make this go away. I asked God to make the depression go away. I cried and cried. And in front of a mirror. What is that? It was in front of it. I have the mirror right here. I have the mirror right here. Here's a mirror. It was this mirror, but it was in a different house. It does this, and I cried in front of it. It was a long time. It was 2006 or 2007. It was 2006 or 2007. And I had been depressed, never had to experience depression. And I wanted to die. I didn't want to be a real estate agent. It was so hard to do. And you know, I thought I'd be famous after I'd made Crazy Animal. I thought I'd be famous 5 years before that when I did my best work in my short films. And you know, I hadn't ended up being a real estate agent, but I know now. I know inside it was from the meanness to others that came back to hurt me. I built it up big in the wrong way with sin, and then that always comes back to hurt whoever does that. And I know that now. And unless it's a really small forgivable sin, unless it's a, you know, that kind of sin always, when it's that bad and big and mean. But it wasn't big back then. It was just like a jerk mean to random people. And all that came back to hurt me, gave me depression. I wanted to die. I cried in front of the mirror finally when I thought I couldn't go on, asked God, who I hadn't been that close to or thought of. I didn't ask Jesus, but I still kind of, like, I had kind of strayed away from God and Jesus before that. Anyway, I asked God, this was the end of 2006. It was awful before that. It was pretty bad. And end of 2006 or January of 2007, or about that time, I cried and cried in front of the mirror. All the tears came down. I hadn't cried maybe in years. And is that? I don't know. And so I cried in front of the mirror and I said, please, God, make the depression or sadness, whatever it was, go away. Please make that go, the bad feeling from the sin that I did. I know that's where it's from. And please, God, please, God, make that go away. I don't want to do it now. I'm feeling okay now. And I'm feeling usually almost always okay. I doubt I'll ever kill myself. I don't know if that's true. I usually don't doubt things, but I don't know if I'll probably never kill myself. And but back then I was depressed, and I asked God to please make the depression go away. And then I stopped crying in front of the mirror. Danica was in the other room on the computer. It was at my house. Oops. Anyway, sorry, that was Taza. I missed the phone call to do the video and tell the story. I'll call her back. I'm gonna finish the story and then I'll stop the video, or I'll turn the video off. uh, here's what happened. I cried and cried in front of the mirror. I asked God to please make the depression go away. And I got away from the mirror. I got away from the mirror, kind of walked into the other room, wherever it was. And I was kind of worried because I didn't want to feel depressed again. And I didn't know what would happen. But I know I cried in front of that mirror and asked God for it to be okay. And that night, Taser wrote me. That night, I'm gonna write her back. I'm gonna call Taser after this. I don't know. And that night, the depression did not come back, but I was still kind of worried because I didn't want to feel depressed again. It was awful feeling wanting to die about having to be the real estate agent that much for that long, and like feeling like I wasn't really working. My mom was doing it, and like, but they were paying me tons of money for it. Oh, I saved $10,000, and I think a few days went by, and I still wasn't depressed. I still wasn't depressed. And then it hit me. I think it was a few days later, and I said, I have $10,000 saved up. I'm going to quit being a real estate agent. And I quit being a real estate agent. And I was never a real estate agent again. And I quit. And the weird thing is, I believe that was 2007. I'm not sure. The end of 2006. It was December or January. And a weird thing is that in 2008, a big crash happened to the entire real estate agent people and stuff, and all of them had to quit. They couldn't get work anymore, and all this horrible stuff happened. But I don't like, these people who are making $400,000 a year could not get one client, and they had to get other jobs and stuff. I don't know what the heck happened. It was really weird, and but I had already quit long before that. And so anyway, I don't know if that's in any way related to anything that happened. Who knows? And but that was weird. And but I worked at it with all I had. Besides, God or Jesus is what I think I was doing, but I didn't know. It was on faith alone at that point. But then I really found God again when I cried in front of the mirror and asked God to please help me. I trusted in God and asked God to help everything be okay. A few days later, I still wasn't depressed, and I decided to quit being a real estate agent. And I got really happy because I had $10,000 saved. I didn't have to work. And then I said, about the same time, or a little before or a little after, I said, or it was after, it must have been after, I'm going to make a movie. Because I had this script that I wrote 6 years before, or 7 years before. 7 years before at LMU when I met Danica in the editing room, but it was another class we had, my screenwriting class. And I wrote a really good script that everybody liked. And it was called The Second Story, about some kid who stopped taking his medicine and all this different stuff happened. And I changed it to a vampire movie. And then at first I started writing to Lloyd Kaufman. I wanted to see if he'd produce it and want to pay for it, but he didn't want to. And I was like, at some time I was like, okay, I'll spend my own money to produce the movie. Whatever order that was in, I'll spend my own $10,000 to make the entire movie, and I'll pay my bills until I get it filmed we'll film it in the summer. And I started writing all these people on MySpace, and I met all these people. I got people to fly here without having to pay them, but I had to pay for some of their plane tickets and stuff. And I made a big movie. I worked on the pre-production for 6 months. I'd work on it every day, not too hard, but I'd work on the movie about every day. I did all the stuff to get everything that showed up in the script. As far as I know, I had to get that stuff myself, unless like Corey or somebody did that stuff, but he's probably better at actually making creating that 3D art stuff more than I had gotten into. But I can sculpt, but anyway, I had to somehow get all those props on budget, on a very low budget, because the entire budget to pay my bills and do the movie was only $10,000 to make it through summer. And then I finally started filming, and I felt okay. I felt amazing. I felt happy. I was getting to work in a movie, and I worked on it a lot. I started by researching almost all the video store vampire movies, all the famous ones, lower budget ones, vampire movies. I researched those. I read, I think, some of Dracula and some other vampire books to see what vampire stuff is about. And I made my own kind of vampires who eat meat. They they don't kill others. They don't hurt humans, apparently, unless some of them are bad. But they eat meat. They eat meat because they're more kind. And it was God who I asked to help me, and everything was okay, and I got to make a movie. And all my depression went away because I believed in God again with all I had when I cried, tears down all my face, and asked God to please help it be okay. And that's what happened. I got to make your vampires in Zanzibar. And then I ran out of money when I was filming it, and I had to spend money on credit cards. And I had spent, in total, it was more than $10,000. It was like $30,000. But I got the movie done. Oh, it was 20,000 at first. I spent 10,000 more. And then I spent another thing. I filmed a little more later. And then a little after, but that was amazing. My depression went away for years, a long time. And it wasn't depressed, as far as I knew. Not that long or whatever. My depression went away, and then I was mean again. So then I was mean again. I can't judge other people who I think they sinned in this really bad way, because at one time, that person I talked about earlier in the video, who I thought made his life and soul about being rich. I don't know if that's true. I'm sure he's good in ways that I was not good in. But at one time I sinned. Eventually, but at one time I sinned. I really messed up. I sinned worse than that guy did, and I think he was afraid of me. I think he was afraid of me, how bad I was sinning, and I became like not really myself, and I was still myself. I had my soul, but it was hidden very far inside, and I put on this this show, or this not acting like the guy who I said acted that way, but more politically really mean, tried to brainwash the entire nation on shit that I didn't even like. And it was awful. Like, I thought they were gonna put me, all the stuff that I had tried to, when I started being mean out in Orange, California at grad school. um uh uh all this stuff that I've been thinking about for years, aliens, living a lot longer, 150 or 155 years, and then thought I'd live to be 1,000 years old. All that stuff that I tried to do, these huge ambitions, I was like, I got terrified because I didn't really have Jesus as much as, I had Jesus, but I didn't have the Bible to really read and know what this stuff is. I didn't know what the second coming was. I thought maybe I'm supposed to be Jesus, and I got things a little bit wrong, and the Bible finally showed me what everything's really about, so it doesn't get that bad anymore, and I don't sin that much as like I had gotten tricked into, because they showed me this hell stuff when I was off my medicine, and that's what did something to my brain. It was like I thought they'd put me on earth while I was still alive, a very real place that was shown to me like hell, or hell. And I thought they put me in these facilities down there to show me these unimaginable things that do not happen on earth. Way worse, way worse than any suffering we know on earth. And they showed me that stuff, and was like, I thought I had to really um, be that big Republican way. And after I had pushed all the liberal stuff in grad school, and kind of being mean about it, and I did eventually have to go across the entire country like Jesus, willing to suffer and die on the cross, but oh, way worse I thought would happen to me. Like what hell is like. Uh, and it's bad. It's bad. And I didn't understand that the only way they do those things to you in hell is by sinning, by being mean. And I thought I had to get as much money as I could on earth so they can't put me in a hospital, and those demon kind of people, weird people, demon people who are way worse than weird, uh, would take me down there to do these horrors, the genetic manipulation, the my worst fears imaginable. And I thought it could happen to you on earth in real life. No, that's hell. That's hell. That's hell. That's going to be in the lake of fire when there are these awful things happening in there. Well, people who their second life is supposed to be forever. They have a really strong life that supposed to last forever, but they have to suffer for all the sin they did on earth, and their first earthly physical life, their physical body's earthly life. And the second life is when people either go to hell or heaven. They go to heaven or hell. And the only way to go in hell is by sinning way too much. I didn't know that. I thought, because I didn't have enough of the Bible and God and Jesus. I didn't have enough of God and Jesus to know what it's really all about. So I try to act really big and mean and really mean and try to push these political ideas I didn't even believe in, because I thought they'd take me down to these facilities and do these horrors to me that were like way worse than anything I had ever seen in a horror movie or anything I'd ever seen or heard of on earth. Like really bad. And it was hell. And it was because I hadn't slept in a long time, and somehow Jesus allowed me to see it. I didn't put it together until years later. I didn't understand what it was till I started reading the Bible. But before I started really, I read the Bible when I was a kid, growing up a little bit. But I had God and Jesus when I grew up, but I strayed from the Bible. And then I found God when I cried in front of the mirror. Then I still didn't understand enough to know what was really in the Bible, and I didn't have enough faith, which may have worked on its own, but that's not easy. You're really supposed to have the Bible so you know what the truth is about. And I really messed up in sin, and then after I went out there and pushed all that mean political stuff, I had to go across the entire country the second time I went off my medicine. Hadn't slept in a couple weeks. Doesn't happen anymore. I figured out how to not do that. I don't drink a lot of caffeine. See, some weird thing when people quit their psychiatric meds they've been on a long time, and they quit their meds, they're off their meds, and they keep drinking caffeine. Sometimes they can't sleep at all for a long time, and they may have no appetite anymore, and they think, oh, I'm losing weight, and they don't realize, they're not sleeping at all, and it can cause real insanity. Um, and or a godly Jesus-like experience, seeing hell. That was what was just later. When I read the Bible, I understood with those things that I had seen. That's how they describe the Bible. Unimaginable, way worse than what we know on earth as hell. And the demons, they had these little really mean, dark, really black looking, hide in the shadows demons who pulled up these people on a cross. And this person, my neighbor, they put on a show when I hadn't slept in a while. They pulled him up on a cross, put a giant goat head or something on his head, really hurting his body in ways that they don't do to people on earth. He would have already been dead. And then they did really bad stuff to him with his family members that they brought in, who like his daughter who was 16. And it was really bad. And they did it in a way to try to keep them there forever. Like his way to not be have the beatings and the really bad stuff they're doing to his body to hurt his body, to have a rest from that that allow his 16-year-old daughter to come in and do stuff to him like sex. And that was his only way to avoid the suffering. And then that made him sin way worse, to be trapped in hell longer, to where they'd hurt him and do these horrible sex things that no one would ever want to do. No one would ever want, like the worst imaginable things, people you're not supposed to have sex with, you know. And they might have thousands of people doing a rape to somebody or something, or have like first they rape somebody in their butt, and who's a man who never would want something like that, and then they'd inseminate him with some type of genetic thing that would cause this weird creature that they created to come out of his backside, or like these unimaginable horrific things. And there might be all of them doing it to him or something. It was really bad. And that's from evil. That's evil, and that's down in hell. That stuff is really bad. And I'm probably not going to go there. I'm probably not going to go there, because I'm kind. I do my best God's work. I try to not be led into temptation. I try to watch it, not to get angry, not to be mean. I let that stuff go. Okay, somebody's gonna hurt my body. I might get old. I might look really old after I take this makeup off, or who knows, I'm actually 43. It doesn't make me happy to look bad, but it's not that bad. If I was like some little old person, or with a hurt body, or had to rest in a bed, what's the worst that's gonna happen? You have to lay in a bed. Hey, you don't have to work. You don't have to work. I don't know, but it's I don't worry about that stuff, like trying to prove I'm rich or famous as much. And I try to not think about the music and videos and film having not made even a smaller amount of, even like, I don't know, but it hasn't, that I had to eventually work just as relentlessly and hard as I did at the film and music, which was not, still after all those years. Uh, 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 then I had to work that hard at home repair, be a working man with a kind of mean about it or some shit, like how they were, I thought, which was, I didn't have to be mean, but I wasn't that mean. And I had to actually just do the work, wake up sometimes at 2:30 in the morning to start a long day where I could barely walk at the end of the day, when it just was getting dark, and I'd barely make it to the bed. I'd of course have to get to my medicine somehow and eat it, and with food, and then I could barely move and fall asleep, and then start waking up the next morning. Sometime between 2:30 was the earliest I had to wake up then, and 5:30, and have to get to work on this house when I started working on this house. And before the daylight came, I'd make lists of the materials I needed to do the work. Might have to go to Lowe's or Home Depot or something like that. And I had so much worry and anxiety about the hell stuff that was shown to me for years. This was like a special place where I could get away from being in public. Because out in public, I thought, I thought there's a $300 million alien craft following me around. That I had to cover up my phone password, and the demons might, and weird creatures, really bad creatures might do something to me if I didn't eat red meat. all at every meal for a year. I think it was because I had been a vegan for an organic vegan for 14 years, and then I went on an alkaline, really skinny diet, and then I starved myself, and then I was off my medicine, hadn't slept for weeks, and something happened where I needed red meat, like the heavy meats, for about a year. It was awful. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't really personally like eating meat, but I hid my true self inside and put on a front. Yep, eating his corpse. It was bad. It was awful because I thought PETA said it's a corpse. That must be what it is that I'm having to eat. But that wasn't true at all. That was awful. That was awful. In the Bible, it says it's okay to eat meat. Those are beasts. Those are beasts. We're still kind to pets. We're kind to our pets. But some of those animals, God put them there. It's okay for us to eat them. You know, it's not that bad. I just prefer vegan. I prefer vegan, but I'm not against meat eaters. And but I did have to go across country like Jesus the second time I went off my medicine. The first time I was really mean. Thought the health stuff was gonna have not really be mean. Like if somebody, I thought somebody was putting like a handcuff on me or some weird ass shit that's gonna hurt my wrist. I tried to think it had to be way the fuck stronger, break it, and strongest one that would like, you know, I thought that was how I thought. And thought I had to be that way on earth to get more and more money and stuff. Not stuff, but money. And I because I thought if I couldn't pay my bills and pay for my food and stuff, I thought they'd put me in a hospital and incapacitate me if I started eating vegan and stuff again and getting lightheaded and wouldn't know what I was doing. And then I thought they could put me in a hospital and then those creatures would take me down to those Illuminati facilities and keep me alive for 400 years of suffering. I thought about that long. And that's not what, it's not true at all. It's because I didn't, it's because I didn't have the Bible to show me the truth, to show me God's truth, the reality of what everything really is. You know, that was hell that they showed me. And the only way to get there is by being mean to others and giving into temptation to do you know, bad sin, like sexual sin that people think would be really fun to do. That's bad. Some of it's bad. It's better to not do it. It's way better to not ever do that stuff, and not even to, you know, some of the unnatural of being with like more than one woman at a time and stuff like that. Like that's too much. And you're supposed to be with your wife. You wait to get married, and once you're married, then you stay with that person, your husband and wife. You are husband and wife for those who God really wants to be married. And I think maybe my kids will get to be married. I don't know. I hope they get to be married. I don't know. It's up to God, but I have a good feeling. I think they'll be married. I think all of them might be married. I think all of them may be married, but that's how I feel. Like I think they will be married, but you know, it's up to God. We'll see. And when you marry somebody, you do your best to stay. You do your best to stay together, unless God may separate you for a while. Maybe I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. It's up to God. But you can't fornicate with other people. That's wrong. That's adult. Well, if you're already married, it's adultery. But for having sex before you're married, it's fornication. And even that's maybe could be bad. Really bad. It's bad, but I don't know if how much of that is forgiven or not, and you're really not supposed to do it. But I don't. You, I it, if there is some way, because when I was about 12 to the time I met Danica, when I was 21 or 22 or 23, it took a while after we'd been together. I didn't really get to go all the way and have sex. like until I finally got to. But all those years, I had to see them every day walking the halls. Wow, I'd really like to kiss a girl and be with one. Like when I was 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, I started kind of here and there. I had a girlfriend, but we didn't really I never really got to go all the way or uh, um, whatever it's called with a woman all the way. I wasn't confident, like, and it was wrong. It's like something about it wasn't supposed to, and I got to with Danica. It took a while. She didn't want me to just go have the best. She didn't want me to have the best time ever. Um, but when we were married, then we really got to then I really got to do things like the best way I felt like with that kind of stuff in a regular way, in a pretty regular way. But that's what you get to do when you're married. A husband and that's okay to be with. God says that's okay to have sex when you're married. It's not a sin. As long as it's not too much like bad, unnatural stuff. Like you can't lust after another woman, really wanting your heart to be with another woman. That's bad. And I kind of messed up about that. I messed up about that. I think maybe everyone has at some time, but I don't think that's that great of an idea. Like maybe if we're thinking about sex, but like think that somehow is your or is uh or your wife or don't I don't know do it unless it's like I don't know. I and but by a miracle, I had to go across country the second time I went off my medicine, and that was not easy. That was an unbelievable fear. It was just as bad as the first time. It was the fear was just as bad as the first time. I could see the hell stuff. I thought this really bad end of the world stuff was gonna happen. I thought I might have to be Jesus, but I didn't know, and I did it on faith alone. And I had God and Jesus, but I didn't read the Bible enough to really know. So I had to really do it on faith alone and some God and Jesus. And I had to be willing for all those fears that happened the first time that I acted too mean and bad about, and was really pretty scary how bad and mean it was in my thoughts. The second time, and the worst of it was only in my thoughts. And the second time, um, I had to be willing to face these unimaginable bad things that could happen to me. All the things that I thought could have happened to me, I was as best as I could make it without. Some of them I don't know if I could have been able to do. um, and I think God and Jesus were there. I know God and Jesus were there with me the entire time and helped it to be okay and only gave me as much as I was able to do. One of my worst fears was being put in a hospital. It was bad because I thought, if they incapacitated me, put me in a hospital, then those creatures could start coming out, those really, really bad ones, and take me to their underground facilities, like through the, like through under houses or weird places I thought existed, into hell, into the very real place that was like really down under the ground that I thought was the Illuminati facilities, but in reality it's just hell. It's hell. It's a real place that exists now with the devil and demons down there, but it's um it's not going to happen when you're really kind and godly and Jesus like. It doesn't have to be a fear anymore. It doesn't have to be a fear when you're really kind and you don't give in to temptation to do the wrong things, and you do your best to be kind. Do your best to be kind. Uh, but I've messed up too in my thoughts, or But that second time I went off the medicine, I really had to be willing to face all my fears. Ended up in a hospital, thought I'd go to jail. First in a real hospital, they put me in a wheelchair. I thought they were going to keep me there forever for being as kind in a good way as I could across the entire driving across, stopping at all these places, trying to see my kids in Texas. I thought I was in Texas, but I was in somewhere else, in Mississippi, and they put me in eventually a mental hospital. So I hadn't slept in a long time, and by some miracle, I think everything went back to being okay again. I was willing for these really bad stuff to maybe happen to me, go to jail, worse than jail. Then I thought I'd have to go to prison. I thought I'd have to break out of a prison. Why would I do that? I don't want to get in trouble, you know. But I was willing to do those things to be good and kind and follow godly and Jesus like, but not. And God helped me. God, the only God, not a false lowercase God God. Those are false gods. But God helped me to be okay through all that stuff. And you know, I was willing to do my best God's work to really stand up for what was good and not give in to temptation or anything that those demons and the devil would try to push on me. And you can't be mean to them. You can't put your foot down and say I'll destroy you or be mean to them. That's what I thought, my thoughts back then. I couldn't be mean to anyone. So I don't know how to fight the devil and demons because I can't hurt others. So that's my way. I think that's, I wouldn't want to hurt the devil or demons, but you don't want to get anywhere near them because they are 1,000 times as smart as a human, and they can trick humans into the wrong, really bad stuff. And that's why when you know about, but you're not going to get tricked into it now. I hope to God, because you know enough by watching my videos even about God and Jesus when I talk about all this real truth, God's truth that I found to not have to suffer as much and to help others and be kind to others. But it's difficult. Like I'm supposed to go to I might have to go to Texas, but I may not. I don't know. Like I have a plane flight to Texas tonight. It's the second one that I got. I got one a few days ago, and I got really worried about going. I got really worried about going. Hey. And so I have another plane flight going there tonight, and to deal with the worry about it, I put on makeup, tried to like feel happy about myself, and still it worried me. Last night I ate too much food to feel finally okay, and I could barely breathe. I was so worried, and I had to take my shirt off in the bed. I don't, and I was like really worried. So today I was like, I'm just gonna feel happy about it, not worry if I'm going or not. And I drank a bunch of caffeine to lose weight again. I know. To lose weight again. And now somebody was calling me along the line to see if I need a ride to the airport. Tried to look really good. I thought if I looked really good and happy, then my body wouldn't be hurt, and I couldn't get so worried that it would like hurt my body if I wasn't getting the right food and stuff. I was like, when you go out there, how are you gonna get the food and stuff? I guess you have to have enough money, but when you have Jesus, that's all you need. And God, who's inherent with Jesus. I'm not trying to sound like that Star-Lord guy or whatever he said. That's all you need. You know, Jesus, God and Jesus are, that's it. Because when you have that, it says all about what's good and bad in the Bible. You know, you worked hard enough to pay for the food. You're going through what God and Jesus want you to go through. And you have Jesus. Jesus, God's inherent in that. God's infinitely beautiful. He's everything that's good. He's everything that's good. I can't judge that guy who said mean stuff. That man who I said mean stuff about. I'm supposed to be kind to him, but I don't. I hope to God he's okay. I hope to God he makes it to heaven somehow by really doing a lot of God's work and really finding God in Jesus more than ever. I hope, or maybe he's already on his way to heaven and I wrongly judged. I don't know. I hope he's okay. Okay, I'm gonna see what this person commented. Oh, thanks. The person watched my movie on DVD. Agnagarkia, I hope you watched this video because that's not what I'm like at all. I'm not some warlock or stuff like that. No, not at all. I did put makeup on and stuff to try to feel happy about my appearance, like I'm famous or something. It made me feel happy, but that's not what I'm about. And then the thing that Danica, I thought you were in the kids or moving in back in with you. Maybe. Well, I'm gonna go. Okay. Really sorry if I wrongly judged someone, or I hope that person's okay. Maybe I didn't know what I was talking about. About that one person who I said was mean, and the other person I said maybe was mean, but I don't know. Maybe they sin less than I do for all I know, or because I was pretty bad those 2 or 3 times in my life. The third time I was mean was in high school. It wasn't that bad, but I stole things. And don't steal things. It says in the Bible, don't steal things. It'll all come back to you. It'll suck. It might make your face look irretrievably good. Like you might think you'd never look good again. That's kind of what happened to me after I stole stuff. I got so worried about my appearance. I went through an ugly duckling. Well, I still didn't call myself ugly, but I went through a phase of low self-esteem, the lowest self-esteem ever. And this one kid, I had a hernia too, could barely walk around campus, had to choose between a notebook or the textbook to bring to class because I physically, it was too heavy for me to carry both. And had my hair in front of my face, zits, the hair on my face, I didn't shave as much, braces, it did not look, I was not as confident, but I did cut my hair short one day. As soon as I cut my hair short, this girl who's attractive to others or something, or at the time I thought was attractive, was like, you look pretty good. And she said it, and I felt normal and everything. I think I was trying to do a Jim Morrison rock star thing, and it wasn't what God wanted for me to do. He wanted me to really study. So it kept me feeling like I didn't want to socialize. Because I think if I got into socializing and partying and all that stuff, maybe who knows what would have happened, or dropped out, maybe gone to LA, been a famous comedian or something, and did all this mean stuff, fornicated with everybody, and like really mean about it, and then maybe ended up in hell, and my son Rowan never would have been born, and Ivan wouldn't have been born, and maybe their baby sister Ayla wouldn't have been born, and so I'm glad that didn't happen, and oh, he got to enjoy it for a few decades, and then oh, an eternity in hell and torment and suffering and crying and agony and whatever the heck that shit is. And hurting all those people and doing the wrong bad. No, that's not what it's about. Oh gee. But so I'm gonna go. I may go to Texas or not. I don't know if I can get on the plane or not. So I gotta stop this video. Feel okay. I was trying to, when I started to, I gotta take a break or calm down. I gotta calm down. Okay, bye. I put makeup on. I was trying to feel like maybe I'm a cool, good-looking rock star. Like make myself feel so confident that I'd make it across country. But I think that's wrong. You know, God may say, you know, don't go this time if that's how you're trying to get there. I don't know, or I don't know. I don't know. Maybe, you know, maybe I have to wash all the makeup off. Okay, dress normal. I'm okay. Good, kind to others, following God and Jesus. It's not about my own selfish thing. It makes me feel best. But you know that I like that stuff. But it's really about love of Jesus and God, and then you're okay through almost anything. And you have God and Jesus, then it's okay. Jesus and God will be with you through anything that you have to go through. Unless it's too late for those people end up in hell. Right? I try to not give in to temptation, and I'm really good compared to how I was. But one time I really yelled at Al. That was stupid. I punched the air. I acted like I was punching Trump. I've been working for weeks or more on my house. I quit my medicine. I wasn't having any caffeine because then I wouldn't be able to sleep. And I was working relentlessly on my house to try to really get it to. I thought I'd have to rent it to pay my bills, and then I'd go to Texas and maybe somehow California or Texas, and it was too much to get the house. Like really, I got it really good. I worked in the house for about a month, and of course I worked on it some months earlier before that, and 4 years, and I finally got it. I almost had a $2,400 a month income from renting the house, but I think I'm not supposed to. I think it's for me, and maybe by a miracle. I feel bad for what I said about that one man. I can't judge him. I don't know. When I was younger, I said stuff like that, but I started doing it in this video, and that was maybe I'm wrong about that, or right, or I don't know. But I think that there's some truth to that. But you know, that if say like there's truth to it, a lot of truth. Say like there's a lot of truth to it. Something's got to change with that human being who sins in those ways. Those that could be bad for a lot of people. Something's got to change about that. You know, he's got to really find God in Jesus. Not always be the most powerful, best rich man. You know, who's way better than everyone else around him or others around him. You know, that's an illusion. That's an illusion of him thinking he has to put on that show to be that way. You know, that's not how you're. You know, he's not that way to them, but then at the same time I can't judge him. I can't judge him. Maybe he's less sinful than I am, but I can't believe he goes out there in the social situations and acts that way. And but sometimes it's like always like he's like this, like it's like this. I can't believe he really acts that way every day. Like he's not truthful. Like he wouldn't let his eye get a little, oh, well, no, that that doesn't matter as much that his eyes, you know, like for me personally, doesn't make me feel happy to look good after whatever I had to go through. But I'm okay looking old sometimes, you know, around people that for being appropriate, and that's one of the worst feeling things on earth for me, besides physical pain, besides my health being bad, and besides missing the love from my family, which has been way worse than just like looking old or something. And that's been really awful. Um, and well, that's it. Follow God and Jesus. Dear God, I'm going to end the video pretty soon. Dear God and Jesus, please be with us on earth. Please help us do your work, God. Please help us be good people. Dear God, help Danica be a good person. Help the kids be good. Help Danica's family be good people. Help them to be okay. Help them to be kind to others. Way more important than just feeling good on earth, I think, for them. Please, God, help them to be kind and do your work on earth. And protect us from evil. And help us to be okay and do God's work on earth. And help us to, hopefully, not go through things that we are unable to go through on our own. And unless we want to spend eternity in hell, to really do our best God's work on earth. Kindness to others, not being led into temptation. Kindness to others, not being led into temptation. Not being tricked by evil into doing things that we don't have to do for some stupid earthly goals that are unimportant at all, an illusion of happiness, when we're happy enough with Jesus alone. With Jesus alone, we can be at peace and okay. And it may be something, you know, hey, wow, life can suck, you know, our bodies can be hurt, our money can be taken away. Who knows what's going to happen? When we have Jesus, it'll be okay. But, you know, it's the first world. As long as we have food, water, our health, loved ones, that's all we need. We don't need to be some way rich person. We don't need to spend money as we're making a lot of money. And, you know, where does that go? Most of the money gets spent anyway. For you to be up here at this huge, way too powerful illusion of rich level, so you can crush these people and say, oh, they're worthless. And no, that doesn't really happen. That's not Danica's family. They never really did that. They didn't do that. And well, anyway, I'm gonna go. Okay, please God be with us. In Jesus' name, amen. Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. You can check out more videos if you want on my channel. Bye. John Birmingham. This is John Birmingham. Bye. I'm trying to look really good. Like, I can try to look really good. I already kind of messed it up. Embrace being old as much as I can. I'm 43. While I still am. Oh, my birthday is in... My birthday's later. Anyway. Man. Oh, bye. I gotta maybe go see my loved ones and do God's work. Really do God's work. Try to really just, I don't know. Hope to God is with us and helps us. Amen. Protect us from evil, Jesus. Amen. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Bye.